CheekyCP with the hits.
Okay, all right. So that's my beat this week. Let me kind of go through what you heard there. I was having some weird audio, so I hope hopefully that audio was like nice and crispy, but who knows? I didn't spend a lot of time mixing.
No, it was horrible. I couldn't hear anything. It was disgusting. I didn't no sounds.
Okay, so the one thing I wanted to do was actually just talk about the sample itself and look at the way that I chopped up the sample. And the unique thing here is that there's so much in this song. We were talking about it a second ago. I don't know what's up with my MIDI controller, but it's just not working right now. If you listen to the track, we're not going to play the track right now because we don't want this to get pulled down, but there's a bunch of hits, right? The whole orchestra is hitting in multiple areas, and I actually could probably play. That's what I'm talking about. Boom, all those hits everywhere, right? So all of that stuff is, you know, fun to play with, and all the different parts in the song, like there's so much in there I wanted to use, but I ended up just chopping up the beginning and then the middle of the song. So there's two parts, the intro to the song and then that one part of the song that drops down. And my big goal this week was to learn how to use the LFO in this new sampler. Again, I'm kind of new to Logic, so I'm trying to learn all this stuff. And what I did was I applied an LFO, right? So that's going to just oscillate left and right a specific parameter. And the parameter that I attached it to was the fine tuning. So what that gives you is it gives you that warbly tape sound. So listen, sounds like you have like a VHS tape that's like all messed up, right? So that is really the bulk of the sample, is just these beginning parts right here, okay? I'm gonna go back to the beginning and let you hear just the main sample. So here we go. So you can see how the MIDI controller was playing it because it's showing you the chops right there. The other chops that I took were from a different part of the song, and it's just the part of the song where the dude, the main singer, is basically doing some oohs and ahs. So this is pushed.
So Core, those transitions or slices, do you plug those slices in yourself, or does the program auto slice it?
It does both. The program does both, but I manually slice these.
Okay.
Yeah, because if you do an auto slice, that's going to help you just throw out the slices just so you can maneuver them quicker because you don't have to add them. So I basically just added them one by one. So one of the things that we've talked about a bunch of different times is that forever I've been using Beatmaker 3. Beatmaker 3 is the easiest way to chop. I'm telling you, it beats Logic times 1,000. So my original idea is it's kind of like my Sketchpad is on Beatmaker 3. Then I have to go into Logic and then try to recreate it. So it's a little bit more cumbersome, but I was able to do it. And I had to kind of go in manually and do that, right? So the other part that you'll hear, and I'll just solo the other part, is just these oohs and ahs. I'll let this roll. So that's just designed to kind of give you some background. So those together, that made up the bulk of the song, right? But once I had the chops and once I had kind of like a cool chord progression with those chords, what I did was I recorded a bass line, right? So the bass line is here. And then that's really just like this backbone of this whole track, right? I also added an 808. We were talking about 808 last time. I used the 808 to accent in different parts of the bass line. So where the bass line really wasn't hitting on an upbeat, I would just hit like a boom. So you can hear that here. I'll just accent this right now. So I didn't want to get too crazy. This is like just kind of boom bap-ish, you know what I mean? It's like nothing wild is going on at all. I'll just solo the beat so you could hear that. I did a little bit of funky flamming on the drums and the snare, so. So I want to show that actually, because I mean, that's kind of like a big thing now. It's like finding out how to get that flammy feel, right? That like, whatever you want to call it, right? Dilla-esque.
The non-quantized. Like...
Yeah, the non-quantized feel, right? But I mean, it's funny because it's like, were drummers doing this first or was like producers doing this first? I'm going to say that, who knows, right?
I think drummers probably.
Yeah. So I'll zoom in and just show you what this looks like because I think this is pretty interesting for anyone to mess with this. So I have two drums that are like acting as a snare. One is a rim shot and one is a snare. And when you look at the rim shot, and I'll zoom in. So bear with me because again, I just said like Logic is pretty cumbersome. You got to really, really zoom in here. So let's look at this. Let's look at what's going on.
What's going on here?
So what is going on? So you got the rim here and you got the rim here, okay? And a flam, you know, is just basically, that's a flam, right? It's two hits, one right after the other.
That's very flamboyant.
And the line you could see here at 92, whatever that is, 9.2, that's right where the snare should be, right on the line. What I did was I just offset it. That's all I did. I took the pointer and just dragged it. So right when it was on the beat, I knew I wanted a flam. I had the
But that's not on beat.
I had the first one go a little bit sooner, and then the next one, the flam of it, kind of go a little bit later. And it sounds like this. so that's the bulk of what's going on there. There's a couple other like of sound effectsy things that are happening that I'll play, and there's a guitar line. So you heard me singing. Bear with me, I'll show you that as well. So really quick, the weird sound that you hear in the background, I did a bunch of resampling just to get this to happen. So really it's just piano, a bunch of piano, and I like doubled up the sounds, and I added like a reverse, and I added some tremolo, and I pushed that in the background. I didn't want that to be in the forefront at all. You could push it up if you really wanted to accent that, but that's the weird noise you hear. You know me, I love the cabasa. So that's just accenting a little bit, kind of like a hi-hat. The bass line, we already went through that. The guitar lick that you hear in here, I'll play that. I added some vocals that sound like a pad because it's just kind of singing on one note. I don't know, that was some Al Jarreau stuff at the end. And then the chorus, what I thought was a hook, was this last part. So I took inspiration from the song title, right? Hurry Up This Way Again, Keep Coming This Way. And that's really the bulk of the track. When you pull it all together in the hook and everything that you hear, the oohs and the ahs, the samples, I'll play it in 1 second. I want to just say one last thing on the hi-hats. So the hi-hats are nothing crazy. These are just 8th or 16th notes. But listen to them. The key is someone, I don't know who I was watching or listening to, someone said throw some tremolo on your hi-hats to give it more motion. And I just messed around with the tremolo on the hi-hats and put it on a 8th note, dotted 8th note, and made it kind of like medium depth. And you can hear the difference. So I'm going to turn it off and I'll play. Those are straight hi-hats, right? That's just whatever, a 16th notes. When you turn the tremolo on, so the idea is the human element. How can we bring it in? Number one, I tried to hit the flam off time a little bit. And then number two, I hit the tremolo on the hi-hat just to sound like it's like a drummer with a little bit of like a, you know, lazy hand or like a real human feel hitting those boring 16th notes, right? But with all that said and done, I'm just gonna let that part rock again. Here we go.